Here at Swim, we are passionate about seeing young people and children being empowered to take the lead and to step into what God has in store for them. But how do we, as leaders and volunteers, support this process? Well, here are 3 handy tips for empowering children and young people to take the lead. Number 1, this might sound really obvious, but know your children and young people personally and well. Much of the empowerment that children and young people so deeply need will be discovered within community, where like-minded individuals can inspire and encourage them. So we must be sure to commit to journeying with our children and young people, just as Jesus journeyed with his disciples, carving out time and space for them. How are we to know what gifts and passions are present within our youth and children if we do not take the time to talk with them and be with them, picking up on their passions, hobbies, talents and gifts, both spiritual and practical? We need to commit time and headspace to getting to know our children and young people if we are seeking to authentically empower them in our spaces and congregations. Number 2, after we get to know our young people and children well, we need to give them genuine opportunities to take the lead. With empowerment, it can be also easy to fall into tokenism, giving children and young people roles at the front of the church so they can simply be seen quickly and then sent away again. But we as volunteers must provide opportunities that are genuine and aligned with the gifts that we see before us. If someone is good with technology, why not get them behind the sound desk or running the tech? If one has a gift for greeting and welcoming others, let's make them part of the welcoming team regularly. And yes, if there are those who have passions and talents in music or hosting, let's make them part of the worship team or allow them to host different parts of services or sessions. The key thing here is when we know our young people and children well, we can identify and provide opportunities, whether they're at the front or behind the scenes, that grow and develop them, helping them to be empowered to take the lead. And finally, number 3, we value young people and children and their gifts, no matter what stage of life they're in. In Scripture, we see the example of Timothy and Paul, and in 1 Timothy 4:12, Paul tells Timothy, "Let no one despise you because you're young, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." We, as older Christians and volunteers in children and youth ministries, need to avoid patronising children and young people, talking about them as if they're the future of the church and not the present. We need to celebrate their gifts and talents now, not later. And we must recognise and acknowledge that we may have things to learn from them, as well as the other way around. Not only that, we celebrate young people and children's participation in leading things we can see and experience in our churches and organisations, but also in the leading that will take place in their everyday lives, in school, in college, or in work. There is a sense in which we're not only empowering them to take the lead in our churches and our youth groups and children's groups, but we're also commissioning them to be disciples in their own individual spheres. This is really important to keep in balance, that we celebrate both the empowerment in our collective communities, but also their individual circumstances. So those are my 3 top tips for empowering young people and children to take the lead. Know them personally and well, leading on to giving them genuine opportunities to lead, and also celebrating, acknowledging their gifts and talents no matter how young they are and whatever sphere of life they are in right now.